This is John Young with DJNTV. This is our Sunday night episode, and I have got my good friend Mike Walter. Good evening, Mike.
Hi, John. How are you?
Hey, doing well, doing well. Boy, I'm just thrilled to have you here tonight because, gosh, you are an incredibly busy man.
I am. In fact, excuse my attire. I just came back from a run. We had a bridal show earlier today. Came for a run, and then I got your note about getting online, so here I am.
Nice. Well, again, thank you for joining us tonight. I want to talk about a lot of different things, but let's start off with the upcoming educational event you are kind of collaborating with Joe Bunn on, the PhDJ. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's something Joe and I started talking about towards the end of last year, putting together a 2-day workshop. Kind of advanced content for the DJ business owner. Very similar, I think, to the model that, Bill Herman and Jason Jones have put together, which is really geared, I think, a lot towards the entertainment. Peter Mary has done something very similar, but we're really gearing this towards the DJ business owner. There's a lot of sales stuff. There's a lot of marketing. There is some performance. You know me. I still love to get people on the microphone and do a little performance training type stuff.
Sure.
But the heavy emphasis, I think, is going to be on running the business. And our main focus, as Joe and I are putting, the seminars together and the content, is advanced. The only negative I hear sometimes about some of the national DJ conventions is that a lot of the material is 101. And
Sure.
so we're looking to avoid that. The name really came about because we were looking at possibly doing like a wedding MBA, a DJ MBA type of thing.
Yeah.
And then I just threw out PhDJ, and that kind of stuck. So
Nice.
We're really kind of focusing on this is an opportunity to get your doctorate in running a DJ business.
Very cool, very cool. So now the dates
You have brought me out numerous times, and I've always enjoyed it.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen Mike's presentations, when I'm mainly a single operator, but I've learned a lot of things, as you're saying, that a single operator can use, and it's going to be great information. That's really cool.
Great.
Really cool.
Good. Yeah, looking forward to it. So if you want more information, we have a website set up, PhDJworkshop.com, and you can poke around. We've got the schedule of seminars and travel information, where it's going to be down in Raleigh, North Carolina. Everything is on the site. Nice.
And we'll put the link in the description below so everyone can find that and kind of check it out. So that'll be great.
Thanks.
So now, speaking of speaking, how long have you been kind of doing the speaking circuit in the DJ industry?
It's so funny. I just wrote a blog. I actually started it out as an article that I was going to give to you, John, but it's so long that I'm just going to throw it up on my DJMikeWalter.com blog tomorrow.
Sure.
And it's about doing seminars. And so I was reminiscing back to my first seminar. I believe my first seminar ever was DJ Time, San Francisco. I believe it was 1997. Might have been 1998. I'd have to check the dates of when they did that, San Francisco. But so that's how long it's been that I've been speaking on the circuit. And believe me, it's a win-win. I mean, people who say that I've given them information is great, but the feeling that I get coming away from after doing a seminar, being able to give a little bit something back to this industry and share the experience and the knowledge that I have, it makes me feel great too. So It's a win-win.
Yeah, and you do a very, very good job. You're one of my go-to guys because I know every time I sit down, I will, even if I've heard this presentation before, you'll always find a new hidden gem. And if nothing else, we're going to hear awesome Prince references.
Well, especially when I speak in Minneapolis, I always wear purple, and I always try to squeeze as many Prince references. If no one doesn't get that joke, I'm a huge Prince fan. So, there'll never be a shortage of Prince quotes in one of my seminars.
Great stuff. So you've been DJ Times in San Francisco, we mentioned Las Vegas, Atlantic City. Where else have you? Has your speaking? I mean, you've been in the DJ industry, but now you've gone outside also a little bit, haven't you?
Yeah, and speaking of the DJ stuff, Robbie Britton has brought me down to ARM DJs, and then I've also done a lot of the local. I went out to Kansas for their local chapter. That was a number of years ago. The New Jersey local chapter. Just in a couple of weeks, I'm actually going up to Rhode Island to speak at the Snap DJ. And I should know what that means, but I don't. SN Snap DJ, but they have a great local chapter too. You and I were out in Los Angeles a couple weeks ago, and I spoke for the Orange County chapter, the ADJA.
Oh, nice.
But then through that, I've also spoken at the Wedding MBA, which if there are any DJs that haven't gone to that and are interested in kind of expanding past what the normal DJ convention, I highly recommend the Wedding MBA. It's not all for us because there are definitely some seminars that are, about the latest bridal design this year or the latest flowers. But I've gone to that twice and gotten a lot out of it. The Wedding MBA. It's a great experience.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, that's one of those little things on my bucket list. But it seems we get into fall and everything's going crazy with children in
well, John,
school.
You told me you're going again to Los Angeles. I don't know how Lori's tolerating. Is that 3 trips in a month for you?
That is.
I don't want to hear you complaining about the weather you've been having because you haven't been home to experience it.
Exactly. I'll have to have Lori come in and do a little segue about the bad weather because, I can tell you about airports, like it or not.
Yeah.
A lot of airports. So
I'm sure.
Training, of course, has been a big part of your life as a business owner and speaker in the DJ circuit. But you've created some resources for DJs to learn from and to use in their training. What are a couple of the resources that you've come up with?
Oh, thank you, John. My philosophy has always been, as you expand your DJ business, you're better off finding talented people who have the right personality and the right traits to become a DJ, but really don't have much or any experience. And if you agree with that philosophy, then you really need to have a solid training program in place to put these people in so that you can teach them everything from A to Z about, how to speak on the microphone and the various things to say and the songs, programming and music history and all of that. Yeah. So what I did a number of years ago was I put my own DJ training program together in a DVD and a CD-ROM set. So if you purchase it, you're getting a fairly complete DJ training program. But the advantage with all the Word documents coming to you on a CD-ROM is that it's editable. You can take out segments if you don't. For example, I teach a fair amount of line dancing. If you don't feel the need to teach your guys the Cupid Shuffle and the Macarena, you can just delete that stuff out of the textbook that I've put together. So you've got a complete training program, but it's also something that you can really personalize to your company and the way you want your DJs to be. Yep.
Yeah. And I've looked through that program, and for a while I was doing a multi-system where I had different DJs, and I wish I would have run into you when I first started. And I'm sure you've heard that one many times, but
I have heard that many times. I've heard many people say that they've struggled for years to put a training program together and then purchase mine, and they're like, this would have saved me so much time. It is a little bit of investment. It's $250, so it's not, some people get turned off by the price, but I think if you look at the amount of time that it will save you, especially if you have no training program in place, it's really well worth the investment.
I would highly agree, because that's just the things I picked up from you and through that training program. I have a couple of DJs that I work with, but they don't work as employees anymore. They're just kind of friends, and we've been able to use some of your lessons. All of us have, and to be able to improve our shows tremendously.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
thank you.
Great stuff. If someone wants to check out the DVDs and order those, where would they go to do that?
I have a website set up called it's DJMikeWalter.com, and you know the common pet peeve that I have, that a lot of people stick an S at the end of my name. So when I purchased DJMikeWalter.com, I also purchased DJMikeWalters.com. So just in case anybody accidentally puts the S in, you will still go to my site.
You'll get there.
You can poke around there. The DVD, the training program, obviously is available, and as well my book. And I know you asked me if I had a copy of my book that I up right now. Maybe you can do that, but I don't. I looked all over my house. I don't, which I guess is a sign of I'm not too vain that I have books all over my house, but I don't have one single copy of my book, Running Your Multi-Op, here in my house.
Well,
so I can't hold one up.
Well, let's talk about what's in the book then. That this imaginary book we're holding.
I'll be honest, John. I've written. How long have I written for you now? A dozen years? 10?
Yeah. Well, it'll be 10 this fall. We started in October 2004, and you were there right from the first issue.
So are you doing a big deal about that?
We,
is this Shocky News?
We are.
That's what the convention is.
That's what it is. That's the Raiders. Yeah, the Raiders
10th
thing.
Anniversary?
Yep, 10th anniversary
That's
show.
Awesome.
And
that's cool.
That's where that memo came through that says Mike planned to be in Minneapolis on November 9th through the 12th.
Oh, yeah. I've got those dates somewhere, I'm sure. But you asked me what's in the book.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, when I sat down to write the book, I started the first thing I did was gather a lot of the articles that I had written for you through the years. And I saw that, wow, I've already got a number of the, a lot of the content already done, because it's really everything I ever want to share as far as running a DJ business. Finding talent, training talent, managing your talent, selling talent, all the different tools that you can put in place to sell your talent. So it really, the book takes you soup through nuts, everything I can share as far as growing a multi-op. And this, unlike the PhDJ workshop, is really geared towards a multi-op. The title of the book is Running Your Multi-Op,
Yeah.
so I kind of give it away in the title.
Yeah. And again, it's another great resource. I've read through the book, and not only is there great information, but for those who are kind of looking at the $250 price tag of the DVD training, it's a great way, in essence, to get an introduction to Mike Walter.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, very good,
Sure.
very good, neat stuff. Now, at the show last year, at one of the DJ conventions last year, we were in a booth together, and you, of course, had your book, and your books were selling well, but you had this other little book. And that one I don't...
That's right, my little 10 things you can do to have a better day. That's right.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. Tell us kind of what was behind that now, and a little bit, what was involved.
I did a seminar, I think for the first time 3 years ago. I actually, the run up to this seminar was, I have a banquet hall that recommends me, and they contacted me and they said they wanted to do a business expo kind of day. They wanted to open their room and show businesses, because they get a lot of social, they get a lot of weddings, but during the week they felt like they could fill the room with some business stuff.
Okay.
And they said, can you, and the woman had seen me speak at the Wedding MBA, and she said, could you do a seminar for me? And I'm the type of person, my wife just brought over a copy of the book. Thank you, Kelly.
Yay, Kelly.
She said, can you do a seminar?
Yeah.
And I said instantly, I just said, of course, Amy, I can do a seminar for you. And then I hung up the phone and I said, what am I going to talk about? Because at that point, any seminar I had ever given was for the DJ industry. And this is, the crowd was not going to be in the DJ industry.
Yeah.
So I started thinking about putting just a list of things that I do that keep me kind of focused and a little bit healthier when I'm focusing on my health and different things. And I came up with a seminar called 10 Things to Do to Have a Better Day. So I gave that seminar like that.
Yeah, very neat, very neat. Great stuff. And the books and DVDs, everything can be found at the website, the Mike Walter.
Everything at the website, DJMikeWalter.com.
DJ Mike Walter's.
That's correct.
Oh, very cool, very cool. Well, the PhD sounds like that's going to be an awesome event. We'll put information in the description below with that. And of course, you were with us in NAMM. This was your first experience at NAMM.
It was my first time out to LA for, well, not my first time in LA, but first time for NAMM. And as I told you that week, John, I just absolutely loved it. It was such I wrote the article for you for the current edition of Disc Jockey News. Yeah. It was just such an awe-inspiring experience. There were times where I found myself, you teamed me up with Jaron, the videographer who was taping the interviews, and the two of us just found ourselves at times just wandering the aisles like, oh my God, we just couldn't believe if any of your listeners have been to a DJ convention and you compare it to that, it's just 10 times bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, just incredible.
Yeah.
Just incredible. What's something that stood out now that we've had a couple of weeks and you've been able to digest the enormity of the whole event? What's something that still stood out for you as a moment?
Well, I loved how some of the booths literally hired musicians, and some of them musicians of fairly, not just some street musician, but musicians of renown, and just had them playing in their booth as a, obviously it's an attraction to draw people into their booth, but it's also almost just like a thank you to their regular customers. I mean, I saw a little mini concert by Lita Ford.
Oh, nice.
In the, what was that, the Monster Cable booth. And they just had Monster Cable was one of those vendors that did that. They just had a list of, at noon this performer, at 2 o'clock this performer. I was kind of blown away. I don't know what kind of budget goes into that. I did speak to one vendor, and they actually shared with me $200,000 is what they spent on bringing their people to NAMM. And I said, was it worth it? And without skipping a beat, they said, of course. Like, we wouldn't even think twice about it. Like, we have to be there.
Yeah.
So it just amazes me. But I guess when you're selling tens of millions of dollars of product a year, 200K for a big promotional opportunity is not a lot.
Yeah, it's a little bit different budget than we work with in our businesses.
I know. I just did a bridal show this afternoon and paid $550 for that booth. So that it's a little, the comparison is a little different.
Yeah, that it is. Well, Mike, I thank you for your time. I'm going to let you go here. We'll put the links in the description below so you can get to the PhDJ, get to the DJ Mike Walter website, and they can check out all sorts of great information.
Awesome, John. Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, thank you. You too. Bye.
Later.